Hey people, it's Nias talking. Now there's a page called, I think, Nefertine K. Desaline that told me about this story, and this is really good. So the source that I'm using is the BBC. Now they are not very good overall, but they're accepted by people as standard. Let's say, free West African countries to quit the International Criminal Court. Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger have announced they will immediately withdraw from the International Criminal Court, labeling it as an instrument of neo-colonialist repression. The free military-led countries issued a joint statement saying they would not recognize the authority of the UN-backed court based in The Hague. The ICC has proven itself incapable of handling and prosecuting proven war crimes, crimes against humanity, crimes of genocide, and crimes of aggression, the free leader said. The court has not yet responded to the decision by the free countries, all of which with close ties to Russia, or whose leader Vladimir Putin has been subject to an ICC arrest warrant. So here we go. Oh, these dumb blacks, they can't think for themselves. The Putin has told them to do it. It's just like in America. Oh, if black people are demanding reparations, it's because it's Russian propaganda. Black people do not have injustices or grievances that they think of and address independently. They just get told by some white man to do, whether it's in the country or abroad. God, the disrespect. The Free States say they want to set up indigenous mechanisms for the consolidation of peace and justice. They accuse the ICC of targeting less privileged countries, echoing criticisms from Rwanda's President Paul Kagame, who has previously accused the ICC of holding an anti-African bias. I would say this is very biased. Think about this. Of the 5 countries that make up the permanent ones, 4 of them are white nations, and one of them is sort of whitish. I mean, they're like China. So there's no black nation or even a brown nation on there. So you've got Britain, France, United States, Russia, and China. So, there's no African representation on there at all. And if you look at, there was even an admission, I think, from a US official who said that the ICC or the ICJ or whatever was built to prosecute people in the global south, African leaders or people who were out of the Europe, North American mainstream. So basically, they say it's just a target to persecute African leaders. It's not actually to produce justice. So why should African leaders participate in this? The ICC was set up in 2002 to legally pursue cases of genocide, crimes against humanity, war crimes, and aggression. Out of 33 cases launched since its inception, all but one involved an African country. This sounds just like the black-on-black crime statistics. Black-on-black crime. No, I easily discounted this with this whole black-on-black crime. The police do not stop and search whites and blacks equally. Black people may be 5%, 10%, 15%, but they will represent, say, 60% of everyone stopped. Then they will say, well, we've caught more people doing stuff. Well, when you keep searching people over and over and over and target them way above their share of the population, you will inevitably find people. But when you target the majority of the population, a very small minority of the times, one thing I often said, how often do you hear white people say, you know what, I was just absolutely innocent and the police just kept stopping and searching me for no reason? Really? A white person who's totally innocent, they're not involved in any crime, and the police are just stopping them? Have you ever heard that happen? I don't think so. So, it's easy to produce fake statistics when you have the people who compile them, stopping and searching and even framing black people. Let's not get that out of the way. Let's not pretend that doesn't exist, that they don't frame black people and then count that as in, they commit more crime. Black people are the most, exonerated out of all groups of people. Most incarcerated, but also most proven to be innocent. A country's withdrawal from the ICC officially takes effect 1 year after the UN is notified. Military junta forces are in control. No. Just because they are the military, if they are doing more for their country, when they say they want a democracy is just a code word for a Western-backed government that does whatever we tell them. They became a military junta the minute they said to France and other countries, you can't have our resources. Military junta forces are in... And I have a question. Why don't, call Julius Caesar a military junta. You notice that when they talk about ancient history, Julius Caesar overthrew the democracy. They don't call him a military junta. They talk about him as an emperor and talk how great he is. Following military junta forces are in control of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, following coups in the Sahel countries between 2020 and 2023. They make up the only free members of the Confederation of Sahel States. Their armies have faced accusations. Accusations is not proof. Especially when the people accusing them are consistent liars. Accusations of crimes against civilians as violence has escalated in the region against jihadist groups linked to Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State. Let's never forget what Nefertine K. Dessalines talks about. All this Islamic extremism happened when they overthrew Libya. The people who are accusing them of violence, are the same people who created the violence. As Malcolm X said, They'll get you drunk at alcohol and then get you arrested for being drunk. Massive hypocrites. In another coordinated move earlier this year, all three countries simultaneously withdrew from the regional bloc, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. They had rejected ECOWAS's demands for them to restore democratic rule. Russia has strengthened its ties to the three Sahel countries over recent years, which all have become increasingly isolated from the West, notably the former regional colonial power France. Again, this is just code for we are defending our resources, we are asserting our independence, and we will choose who to associate with, not because of what you want. So anyway, boycott France. Keep boycotting France. Please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.